Callahan, whose son may be getting the start for the Packers at quarterback. Joe Callahan, former Holy Spirit standout and Wesley College, so he's in the NFL trying to make a name for himself. And with Aaron Rodgers maybe sitting this one out, might see Joe Callahan of Holy Spirit taking snaps for the Green Bay Packers tomorrow night. So we wanted to catch up with his old man and get some thoughts on the family and what their experience is this weekend. Good morning, Joe. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for taking a few minutes with us this morning. And got to be an exciting weekend for you and your family, for sure.
It definitely is. We're very excited, and so is he. So.
Now, are you guys out there at the game, or?
Not yet. We're leaving tomorrow around 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow. So what's going through Joe's mind? Have you spoken to him? I don't know how much you get a chance to talk to him. He's in training camp, so there's probably not a whole lot of time to catch up.
There's not. It's very briefly. We were lucky last week. We went to Packer Fest and up at Lambeau, and we at least had some time with him, talking to him there. But he didn't know he might get some playing time in the Hall of Fame game. So it's a little bit changed. So it's exciting. He really is. He's really excited, and this is what he wanted to always do. So he's got the plateau for it. So
what's that like for you as a dad? I mean, every dad obviously dreams of their son playing professional sports, and you know your son's lucky enough to have that opportunity right now, and with one of the most storied franchises in the NFL. That's got to be quite a thrill for you and your wife and your family.
For our family, it is. It definitely is, and me as well. Being on the sideline or the side of our house, throwing footballs with him nonstop, and I mean just nonstop. That's what we did, and we did it a lot. And whether he liked it, he really started to enjoy it and just love it. And even when he was with the Absecon Blue Devils, he was a quarterback. From there, he went to Holy Spirit. Then following on there was a couple of large schools looking at him. But then when we looked at them, and then we looked at this Wesley College down in Delaware, he fell in love with it, and he just loved it. And fortunately, he went to the right place, and they've done a great thing for him, getting it to this next level.
We're talking with Joe Callahan, father of Joe Callahan, who's now trying to make the Packers roster as a quarterback. And Joe, at what point did you know your son had professional potential? I mean, a lot of dads think their son is on that level, but I don't think a lot of dads understand the level of competition there is out there, away from their own little pocket of the country. At what point did you know, okay, my kid's got some talent?
Well, I knew he had some talent. He had something different that when you watch and you look at the quarterbacks around the area, he just had something. I can't really describe it unless you just see it and visualize it. And then I saw it really at Wesley when there was a pro-style offense, which they worked, and he was just able to, pinpoint, direct, oversee safeties, linebackers, corners, and find the area each and every time. And it was proven, in his record at Wesley. So that's kind of what I really saw. Did I know he was going to get in the NFL? No, I did not. I'll be perfectly honest with you. And it really got really exciting when all of a sudden, the Packers started calling him on a Monday and Thursday, each week, and just kept continually talking to him. And fortunately, they signed him, and we're very excited about it.
Joe, was there a certain year where Joe made the biggest leap of his young career? Was it in high school? Did it come in college? A lot of times with an athlete, you can see a huge jump from one year to the next. At what age did he really make that big progression?
I don't know the exact age, but it was from with Holy Spirit. They were undefeated state champions, but they ran the ball nonstop, and they didn't have. That's all they did. They really didn't have to throw the ball much. Main reason was at halftime they were basically blowing teams out left and right. So it didn't get to that point till about his sophomore year in college when he started. And from there, he just started hitting about 3,500 yards a year on that, then 41, and then over 5,000 the following year. It just kind of looked like, wow, he just knows how to handle, being a quarterback.
Were you surprised at all about the numbers he put up at Wesley? I mean, he was one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the country, coming from a high school where he rarely threw the ball. Did you see that coming? How did you respond to the numbers he was putting up? It must have been a little bit shocking to you to look at the box scores and be like, wow, he's throwing for 340 yards a game here.
Well, it was. It definitely was. But there was also a couple of things you got to look at. At Wesley, they had an offensive coordinator. The gentleman's name is Coach Chip Knapp, and he directed him all the way through, got him through, see the plays, see the diagrams, see the progressions, make sure you read through the progressions, make sure everything is going through that before that. So it wasn't just Joe. I mean, they had a great offensive line, they had great wide receivers, and it was just a small school that a lot of people did not realize about it or didn't even know about it, and it went all over. It was kind of a funny thing. We traveled in that small little school from California to North Carolina to Maine and up into Mount Union, which is out in Ohio. And it was a small little school, but they went everywhere. And for our mom and dad, we went everywhere as well.
Joe, how nervous is Mom this weekend?
Mom's nervous. I'll be perfectly frank. Mom is nervous. And I think we all are until he, gets, whenever he does get in the game. We will be nervous until it finally gets, a calming effect. That's the kind of thing it is. But like we both said, this is what he always wanted to do, and he's got the opportunity that most people do not get. And fortunately, he has it.
Now, Joe, I had your son on the radio. I guess it was, I forget, maybe last fall or something like that, and I ran into your wife at an Apsagami game a few days later, and she was like, well, my daughter's kind of a little bit upset. Everything's always Joe, Joe, Joe. So tell us a little bit about your daughter and how she's handling this. I mean, that's got to be, on one hand, a tough thing to have a professional athlete as a brother, but also I'm sure he enjoys the support she gives him.
She does. I mean, she's tough at that, and she acts that way, but, she's like, oh, I'm tired of here. Why do we have to go here? Why do we have to go there? Those things do get upsetting to her. But it's funny, like when someone says something negative about Joey, look out. I mean, the sister comes out like, wildfire. And it's really funny. She can make fun of him. She can trash him, but no one else better.
And what's her name again? Susan. Okay. So I made sure that I told your wife, I said, look, if I ever get Joe on the radio again, I'll mention Susan. So, I wanted to make sure I mention her on the air, give her a little bit of love today.
I appreciate that.
We're talking with Joe Callahan, whose son Joe is a former Holy Spirit star and Wesley College standout who's now in the NFL and looking to maybe get some playing time in the Hall of Fame game tomorrow, Colts and Packers, which is the start of the exhibition season. Joe, how tough is that as a father to not really be in contact a whole lot with your son while he's going through one of the most exciting times of his life? I'm sure you want to talk to him 4 times a day.
Yeah, definitely do. You would love to, because when he calls, and usually it's my wife Judy and myself on the phones, and I'm worried about, okay, what happened during the day, the practices, stuff like that. And of course, Mom is saying, hey, well, how are you feeling? Everything good, everything like that. So tell us about. Finally, she'll say, tell us about what you did today. And it's like, well, Mom, I'm pretty much football 24/7, and that's pretty much what's happening. But he at least tells us what happens, goes through, pretty much how the practices went. And again, when we were fortunate enough to go out to Lambeau, we got to see a couple practices. And that, to me, was just icing on the cake. It really was. It was an experience and emotion that I'll never forget. Just watching your son, with Aaron Rodgers, and an offensive line that's just incredible. And receivers, it's just a different world. And you're saying, geez, I'm standing right here, and guess what? That's my son. That's kind of a unique experience.
I guess you kind of have to pitch yourself. I mean, from what I understand, Brett Favre is one of his idols growing up, and to be on that same field in Lambeau Field, one of the most storied football fields anywhere. And did you find yourself kind of saying, hey, this is actually real?
Yeah, it's like you do pinch yourself. You're just thinking to yourself, it's happened like bam, 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 right away, and it's just next thing you know, I'm going to have possibly an opportunity to play in the Hall of Fame game. And I'm like, what? It's unbelievable. That's great. So it is. It's something that we're just living a fairy tale right now. It's been really special.
What's Joe's impression of working with Aaron Rodgers?
Great guy. Tells him specific things. Hey, look at it this way. Look at that. Change this. Look at that. And Aaron has been great all the way through. He has helped him out immensely. Each night Joe will say, Aaron did this or suggested that or that. All of those quarterbacks have been very good with Joe. So it's been a positive, complete positive positioning.
Joe, how big is this for Holy Spirit High School? I mean, I've seen on social media all throughout yesterday and this morning, kids tweeting about it, coaches from other sports saying, hey, tune into the game. Our own Joe Callahan's going to be getting some snaps. I mean, it's got to be just a huge thing for Holy Spirit High School and really energizing that high school fan base.
Well, I hope it is. I mean, you have, some new coaches around. I think you have A.J. Russo and Bill Walsh, and they've known my son. They watched him. They watched Holy Spirit, and my son really enjoyed his experience at Holy Spirit. Take nothing away. We lived maybe literally about a half a mile away, and he just loved it. It was something that he thoroughly enjoyed, loved going to school, coming back home, and, it was a really nice experience.
Joe, before we let you go, I'm sure your son is under a lot of pressure, obviously, to make the team and to do well. What kind of fatherly advice have you given him, and is he taking that advice?
I don't know if he's taking that advice, but what I've given to him is, hey, do your best you can. I mean, you've got here. And how many people can tell you that you have it? I mean, you're here. You're a Green Bay Packer. And I always joke with him saying, hey, every time you keep looking at that check, it says Green Bay Packers on it. So it's really a nice experience, and I think he's really enjoying it.
Good stuff, Joe. We're up against the break, but definitely appreciate you taking a few minutes, and good luck to your son. We'll all be rooting for him tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
That was Joe Callahan, whose son, also named Joe, is going to be playing for the Green Bay Packers tomorrow night, ESPN, 8 o'clock, the Hall of Fame game, Packers versus Colts. So Holy Spirit's own Joe Callahan probably going to get a few snaps, and we'll see what he's made of on the NFL stage.